Today I'd like to show you all about true shape nesting. We're going to talk about the advantage to you as either for wide format printing or vinyl cutting using this magnificent feature in Flexi 12. What is nesting in the first place? Well, on the left hand side here you actually see some interesting things. There's a for instance, might be the way you want to cut these particular objects, and you can see there's like a whole lot of waste in here, there's waste up here, waste in here. That's all vinyl that you really could use a little more efficiently. Well, true shape nesting will actually rotate and use the actual shapes of the graphics. It even uses the holes, like in this area here, just to get things more efficiently cut. And that's going to be a great savings to you in terms of vinyl cutting. So that's what nesting is. Now, it happens that there are two forms of nesting in Flexi. There's just regular nesting, and what that does is that actually uses what we call a bounding box. As you can see over here, it's arranged these with much more effective use of the material, but it's not using the inside of the circles here, and there's some areas over here that are perhaps could be used. It's actually just using the rectangle that creates each one of these shapes, and then using that to position them in this particular place. And you can say there's not a lot of rotating going on or anything like that. True shape nesting, on the other hand, is going to rotate the objects. It has many more features. It'll even use the inside of objects if you turn that feature on. So let's do a demo. I want to show you how this actually works. It's really a cool feature. All right, so here we are. This is that file we were looking at right here. These are just vector objects. We're going to start understanding true shape nesting using this. So I'm just going to select those. In the Arrange menu is where you find nesting and true shape nesting. So if I just choose nest, what it does is, again, these are the features, right? I can type in the width and the length, you know, where I want to place these. I can tell it how much space I want, whether I want to break the text apart or freely rotate. And basically it would do this kind of nesting. So again, it's really not using the inside of these graphics in here when that might be possible to use in my case. So this is where we can use true shape nesting. Go to true shape nesting, and basically you set up your parameters here. Again, the size, the width, the spacing, and then this is actually going to show you how to rotate. You know, how much do you want a rotation do you want to allow, and you can even do copies. So first of all, let's just use the holes. We're going to do just like you see here, and I'm going to say OK to that. You can hit redraw, and what that'll do is show you a preview of what you're going to get. That's how it's laid out, so that's kind of nice, right? A little preview. And then hit the apply button, and it actually applies it, okay? So that actually was pretty cool. It actually used the inside of the circles and everything there, right? But let's do something else. Let's go to the Arrange menu and true shape nesting again, and this time I'll say make 3 copies of that. So I'm going to take the same graphic 3 times. I'm going to hit redraw, and you'll see it'll actually show me what 3 copies would be like. Look at that. I'm going to click OK. Literally 3 copies of all those shapes is being placed in this small area here, maybe half of the particular media that we're actually working on. Imagine having to do this manually. You know, like if I was making 3 copies of something, I might do something like this, and oops, I'm running out of media, right? Because then I have to move things around and so forth. Why not just select everything, go to the Arrange menu with true shape nesting, and just tell it how many copies you want, and then click OK. And just look at how much media savings I'm getting on that. I'm getting less than, right about at half the media, but I'm getting 3 copies in half the media. That is what true shape nesting is really all about, okay? So I'm going to close that one, and let's go back to our presentation here, and let's talk a little bit more about what else we can use true shape nesting for. It's not just for vinyl cutting. Here on the left I have a graphic where I have copies of different kinds of images that I actually just want to print perhaps. And on the right you can see true shape nesting would really save me a great deal of media, 50% or more I'm saving in this particular example. So let's take a look at that also. Let's go back to our Flexi here, and I'm going to open up those files, all right? This is the same file that we just got through looking at. There we go. And again, all I'm going to do is select those graphics, and I'm going to show you both again. In Arrange menu under just nesting, what would happen is it would rearrange these, and I'll go ahead and say OK on this, right? And maybe even freely rotate them and just say OK. And there's how it would lay it out. See the little rectangles? It's easier to see on these bitmaps. That's how it's using it. See, it's not really pushing this one over closer to the boy here because it's got white space on it, and these graphics here actually have little boxes around it, so it's using that. It's not using space in here or between the legs and so forth because of the rectangles. That's the bounding box that's being used. So that could be done. I mean, that's one way to nest, but true shape nesting is going to use the actual shapes of the graphics themselves. So I'm going to redraw this, and then we'll actually see a preview of what's going to happen. It'll just take a second. There's my preview, and then I'll click OK on that. And this time you can see how it's not just using the bounding box. See how it's overlapping? The guys here are overlapping this graphic. So it's not using the bounding box, it's actually using the shape of the graphic. So white space is considered a blank space that he can use for nesting, and that is actually very, very efficient. So that it's great for printing too. If you want to nest a whole bunch of stuff and you're going to print it on the same media and you just want to be able to nest things, you can do that. Obviously I could do it just with copies of text like this, you know, just square images. I mean, it's just a great demonstration to show you that. Now let me close that up. And let's go back to our presentation here, and let's talk about how we can combine cutting and printing together, contour cutting in other words. So here I have the same images with contour cuts already added to them. True shape nesting is again going to nest those, and it's going to nest the contour cuts as well. Let's take a look at that and see how that happens, okay? Let's open up that file again here. This is contour cuts, there we go. And it'll load up all my images and my material and my contour cuts. There they are right there. So let's grab those again, just like that. And again, I'm going to go to Arrange and Nest, and you'll see it will nest them, no doubt, and that's better than what I've got. But you can see I'm still way over here. Let's do true shape nesting. True shape nesting, okay? And let's just redraw this, and you'll see it's going to do a very good job of placing these graphics where I need to be, just right there. And again, remember, I can do more than one copy. If I do 2 or 3 copies here, let's do 2 copies, okay? And I'm going to apply that. I'm doing 2 copies of the graphics that we have up here with contour cuts attached, right? Take a look at that. That's less than half the media, and it's doing a very good job of arranging these. So if I'm doing like perf cuts and that kind of stuff, this is going to really save you a lot of time. Now, you can combine this, by the way, with another feature in Flexi that's really great, and that's the cut animator. This allows you to see how Flexi is going to send the cut file, and we have contour cuts here, so we want to optimize that. We want to use the least amount of vinyl movement as we can. So I'm going to go back to this thing, and again in that Arrange menu there's also Cut Order, and I can click on Order here, and it actually shows me how that vinyl cutter is going to move. Now that looks pretty random, doesn't it? So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's optimize this. Let's maximize the speed and the starting points and apply that. So now it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's actually calculating the best method for the least amount of vinyl movement, and that's going to lessen the chances of skewing. So I'm going to apply that to this particular graphic. It'll take a couple of seconds, and then I go back to my Arrange menu under Cut Order and preview it. And as you can see, let me speed that up a bit. As you can see, it's actually cutting it in a really nice order here. If my mouse, my plotter blade is going to move to this one, and then very efficiently to this one, and then this one. I mean, it's really trying to pick the best way with the least amount of movements and the least amount of up movements of that vinyl cutter. This is a fantastic capability that can be used right along with the true shape nesting capabilities of Flexi. I think it's absolutely awesome. Well, it's just that easy in Flexi. I mean, you should check out our training DVD with over 10 hours of Flexi training just like this. And you can get that DVD if you wish by just going to the link that you see right there. Just write that down and go straight to it, because you're going to be able to get some great training with Flexi. Thanks again for watching. We appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed learning about true shape nesting in Flexi.